guys, today we're going to look at lesson 2.6 and it's graphing on the coordinate plane, and we're going to begin lesson 1, the video 1, just reviewing the Cartesian plane. So let's go up here and let me switch slides here. Okay, so the learning target for today is that you're going to graph linear equations and inequalities on the coordinate plane. But before we get started, let's do just a quick little review about what the parts of a coordinate plane. And I'm trying to get my pen up here. Sorry. Okay. So if we look, just a quick review, a coordinate plane is really two number lines. They're put together. The point of intersection right here is called the origin, and the vertical number line is the y-axis. The horizontal number line is the x-axis. And we give them those names because typically the independent variable in an equation that we write, we typically use the variable x. And so we call that one the x-axis because we represent, or we plot, our x values or our independent variable on that x-axis. Now, the vertical axis is the y-axis, and we usually use the letter y to represent the dependent variable in an equation. So that's the reason why we call this one the y-axis right here. Sorry if I can get my little pen to do what I want it to. We call that the y-axis. But sometimes you may see it also called the f of x, because remember, output we can also call f of x. So a couple other little things that are not in your notes there, let's just kind of jot them in. Remember, that's your first quadrant. It goes counterclockwise. Your second quadrant, your third quadrant, your fourth quadrant. And if you go back and review your signs, if you just look at your number line, it reminds you that all the x's on the first quadrant right here are positives, and all of your y's are positives. So every ordered pair in that quadrant is positive x and a positive y. Now if you look at quadrant 2, it's on the left-hand side of the origin there, and the x values are negative on the left side, but the y values are above the origin, so they're positive. So we got a negative and a positive. And quadrant 3 is to the left and below, so both of those are negative. Both the x and the y are negative in quadrant 3. But if you go on over to quadrant 4, in that quadrant the x values are positive and the y values are negative. And just to review, remember always the first variable in the ordered pair is an x and the second variable is a y. Okay, let's go to the next slide and talk about what solutions are. So in this lesson we'll be graphing on the coordinate plane, and so what we need to remember is that when an equation with two variables is graphed on the coordinate plane, every possible solution for that equation is what's represented by that line or the curve or whatever it happens to be that's graphed there. Basically, that means every point, every ordered pair, and it doesn't have to be exactly in the corners, is a solution, and when we plug it into the equation, the two sides will remain equal. So let's look at that. So let's start over here with one that will be really easy, 0, 4. Remember the x, oops, grab my pen back up there again. Oh no, what did I do? Let's try that. Okay, gotta make that go away. Done. Sorry. Okay, there we go. Grab that pen. All right, so if we look right here, this is my x and this is my y. So we would have 2 times 0 plus 3 times 4. It's a solution because it's on the line, so that means when I calculate this side, I should get 12 because this side of the equation is 12. So 2 times 0 is 0, and 3 times 4 is 12, and 12 plus 0 is 12. That means that the two sides remain equal, or it's a solution. Okay, I'm going to switch colors on my pen up here. And let's pick another one. You see this one's not in the corner. It's on the side right there in the middle. So it doesn't have to be just whole numbers. Any point, there's infinitely many on that line. Any point that I choose is a solution. So in this one, the x is a negative 1.5 and the y is a 5. So we're going to plug in 2 times a negative 1.5, which is the x value, plus 3 times the y value, which was 5, and it should equal to 12. So we've got 2 times a negative 1.5 is a negative 3, plus 3 times 5 is 15. That gives me 12, which is what the other side equals, and so it is also a solution. I can do that with every single point on that line, and it will equal 12 every time. Okay, that was basically a quick little review of what a solution is, what a graph is, and the coordinate plane. So I'm going to pause here for just a few minutes, and then we'll start our next set of videos.